Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. This video has been inspired by a whole lot of people. I took part in a collaboration earlier this summer with Rachel from Rach and Bella Craft and Angela Kerr, and this is the beautiful, beautiful paper that they created. And I've also recently, in the last few weeks, maybe even a month, heard a lot of people talking about lack of mojo. They want to create, but they're just not feeling creative. They're not feeling inspired. And though that's not been my issue this time, I've been through that in the past many, many times. And I've got another video about it, what to do when your creativity is gone, and I'll link that below. But this one is focused specifically on making things because you want to, not because you have to, but because you want to create. You're just not feeling creative. One of the things I do when I have a whole bunch of scraps is I do my scrap busters, and there's a ton of scrap busters out there, just a ton. In fact, there's some folks who make scrap busters specific videos, but these are just some of the things I make. And I find that when I don't know what I want to make, or if I'm not feeling inspired to make a particular thing, I'll go through my list. Now, I did mine small because I wanted it to fit inside the bin. And then I keep them in my bin. And so I thought, well, with the journal that I've promised myself I'll complete and my goal for the year of rediscovering some old products, I took the remainder of that kit and I took my list of pieces to make when I'm not feeling creative, and I made enough items, more than enough items actually, to finish the book. And I thought I would go through this really, really quickly to hopefully inspire some of the others of you who may be struggling right now with creativity. Now, I made more than enough pieces to complete this journal, and I'm not going to put them all in today because you don't need to see me glue, but I want to see the different pieces I have available. This is an item I made from a previous kit that I just tucked back in here because I didn't want to forget. But it's also a Rachel. This is the Rachel and Angela kit. So let me move on. All right, one of the things I make is belly bands, and I did this kind of in order. Now, in my big scrap bins, I have a bag labeled belly bands. So when I have the paper that looks like, oh, this should be a belly band, or I'm in the mood to create a belly band, I just tuck them in here. And that way, when I'm completing a journal, I can just pull from here. Now, I do have another journal that I am going to complete before I start my next project, just using items that I'd already made. I'll go through and I'll do the same thing. I'll pull, oh, this belly band would look good here. So belly bands is the first item. And I'm not going to pull them out, but I have bins or bags for each one of these items. And so what I did to break this down was I challenged myself to go through those, my pre-made pieces, and then the paper that I had, and make at least one of each. So this is going to be a Summer Simple sampler. So there's my alliteration for it. So this is going to be a sampler of items in this Summer Simples journal. All right, so a belly band. Here is a super simple belly band, just using the kit as it was. This was a page of the kit, and I added some of the words and sticker or faux sellotape to the top. So that's a belly band. And then I had made this belly band as well, a double belly band with a lace top and a plain backing. So there's two belly bands to choose from. Now, like I said, I've got way more than I need for this journal, but I wanted to have them so that I could show you what I was talking about. Books. For some reason, I didn't put the books in here, or at least I don't see it. Some of them could have moved out of order, but I did make a little booklet for this. So I'll come back to books. I'll give myself a note and come back to books. And bookmarks. Well, this is kind of a concertina bookmark, but it's a bookmark. So I go belly bands, books, and again, I'll come back to that. Bookmarks. And here is, like I said, a concertina style bookmark with a page that you can pop out. And do I have any other bookmarks in there? Yes, and here is a bookmark, a simple bookmark with just a notepad on top, and then I can tuck that into a pocket. So there's a bookmark. Borders. Now, same idea. I don't generally make a lot of borders in advance. I kind of do it with the scraps as I'm doing a project, but I wanted one for here. So I took some of the strips of that paper and glued them together, and then I sewed a piece of lace on the top. So there's a border. A circle pocket. This is where you take one big circle and then you fold it over and then you cut the flaps to wrap it around, and it's a circle pocket. And then you just have 3 different tuck spots. And then depending on how you glue it in, you could also glue something in the back. So there is a circle pocket. A cluster front pocket. Now, I like making clusters a lot, and I do it fairly frequently. But sometimes I forget about making them when I'm doing a kit. You know, a lot of times I'll make with just random scraps, and I make clusters. But when I'm making with a kit, I don't think about clusters as much until I've got a bunch of scraps at the end. And so that's what I did here. This is just a simple pocket that I can glue down on the page. It's a wraparound pocket, and I put a cluster on the top. Same idea. Now let's see, here's a coin envelope. So this is a piece of the paper from the kit, some ephemera from the kit, a bit of lace, and one of the word labels from the kit. And I made a coin envelope. Now, sometimes you'll see that I've got pieces tucked in to write on, and sometimes I don't. And I do that intentionally when I'm creating things so that I can use my vintage and antique ephemera. If I've got an empty spot, it'll encourage me to go look for a postcard or a receipt or a ledger page or something like that. Something that's authentic vintage ephemera. So there's a coin pocket. This is a concertina, and when I see concertina, it's kind of the expanding thing. And I think of Wendy Townsend because she's the first person I saw do this. So you just fold up some paper. I happened to edge it with a scrap that I had, and then you put a little band around it. It's a great way to use up scraps, and it's a great way to create a writing space, and it's also a great way to use up little extra bits of ephemera that you may have. Sometimes I do it a little too snug, and well, here you go. I should have done it looser. And because I'm on camera, it doesn't want to go back in. Okay, there we go. And then I have a writing space that I don't have to share if I don't want to, but it still has a nice place in my journal. Corner tuck flip. Okay, and then there's a bunch of different ways. Well, actually, I shouldn't say a bunch. I've got a couple different ways. There's the Rita Donnelly kind where you can flip up the corner, and then this is a tuck. This is just one of the corner pieces that we make, the folded, take a strip and fold it to make a corner piece. And then, so I did 2 of those. And then this is a corner tuck where you can tuck you put it down and then you tuck something underneath it. So I just put this on here to store it until I'm ready to put it in my journal. So there's 2 different type of corner tuck plus flip. Dangles. Now I don't have any in here, but I've got a couple that I'll share later on. Books and dangles, I need to come back to those. Envelope options. Now in my book, in my made ephemera, there's a bunch of different styles of envelopes. So I just pulled that out, the envelope out, and thought, oh, okay, I can make this. These are leftovers from what I made when I did the kit. And these are just different envelope options. And that video was one of the most recent previous video. So these, I made them using the kit, and I will put them in somewhere. And so there's a bunch of different envelope options there. Let's see, envelope options. Envelope tuck. This is what I call an envelope tuck. It's where you take the top and or bottom of the envelope off and glue it back. There's a video, an old video about that back there. And so then you have this spot under here to tuck something, and then it makes a pocket in the back. Another option is where you just glue the bottom. You fold it like an envelope and you turn it on its side, and then you glue the bottom piece and you can tuck down there. So that is an envelope tuck. File folder. Here is a very, very simple file folder, again using the kit, and it's got a little pocket with a journaling spot on the front. Sometimes when they're tiny pockets or such, this is one of the ephemera pieces. When they're tiny pockets, I'll go ahead and make a journaling space, just an open up journaling space. But the larger pockets I try to leave sometimes for vintage ephemera. Cigarette cards, library cards, that kind of thing. Okay, file folder, and then flap covered notepads. Now this, was this one an envelope tuck? Oh, this is an envelope option. Sorry about that. So this is an envelope. And it's covered. It's one of my envelope options. Let's see, is it open on this side? It opens on this side. And again, it's a big pocket. So this was an envelope that was covered, right? It folds down. So you've got a pocket up at top on the side. And you could have put a pocket here too, but then I find it gets really bulky. Pocket at the top, a big pocket down here. I've got one of the envelopes there with a little itty mini notepad. So I've got more writing space there, and then you paper clip this in and flip it over, and then there's a spot right here. So that was another one of the envelope options. Again, sometimes these are going to get out of order a little bit because of shoving them in the bins. So that's my first page. Oh, and this is the flap covered notepad where you take tags or bits of leftover card and you wrap them around a bigger piece of card. This is, oh gosh, a Frida Gepner idea that I've just altered a little bit. And then there's a notepad on the top of that. So that's the wraparound, and then it ties closed. So that's what I call a flap covered notepad. And that's the entirety of my first page. And I made this small rather than a big list because it fits in the bin better. And it also made it easy for me to break it up and put the items in each plastic bag. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 14 ideas on here of things you can make when you're not necessarily inspired. You just kind of look at your scraps or your paper, and it doesn't even have to be scraps. I love using scraps, but not everybody does. You can just take your sheets of printed digitals or the authentic paper that you normally use or the items that you normally use, and you can still make these same exact things. Again, I can remind myself to go back to dangles, and again, I usually make those with scraps at the end and then the books. I think I just put the books in the wrong one. All right, page 2. Flip up journal cards. So let's see what we've got here for page 2. And sometimes, honestly, like I said, they're not necessarily in the right order. So here is just a piece of the paper. I printed that one on cardstock. It's got a really simple little fold-over journaling space inside, so there's room to write a note. I try hard to have most of my ephemera pieces hold journaling of some sort, and then there's space inside to write it, and you can either tuck it in, put it in a pocket, glue it down, whatever. But that's a flip-up journal card. A flip-up pocket. Oh, okay, there's several different ways to do this. I've got 3 or 4 samples in there, but this is just one way, and it's got 2 bits. So there's a piece of the paper with cut up ephemera on the pocket top, and then a longer strip. Flip this up. Now I'm going to Velcro this piece down. It holds pretty well, so maybe I won't. But you could use magnets or Velcro to hold it down. And then you flip this up, and when it's in my book, like this, if I had Velcro there, I could put a piece of paper here to put another journaling spot if I wanted to. But I've got these 2 flip-up bits. And it's a great way to use scraps when you've got like these square or rectangular scraps. And you're like, oh, what am I going to do with that size piece? Well, this is a super way to do it because you just take a piece of, your coffee dyed paper and you fold it over, and then you glue one of these rectangles on the top, and then you can glue this on the back. Really simple to make, and it's just another fun option of using especially the smaller squares or rectangles. So that's what I call a flip-up pocket. And there are other styles of flip-up pockets, but that's the one I'm sharing. Folded envelopes. Now, I had folded envelopes. That's just the envelope folded with a scoreboard. You take a square, punch, 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 or score, 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 and fold. I had several in the other bin, so I didn't want to include them here as well. There's plenty of envelopes. But that's just basically a standard-made envelope with scrap paper. Fold-over pocket options. Okay, so there's, again, I've got like 6 different kinds in my bin, but this is one of my favorites, where you've got a long strip of paper and you kind of fold it a couple different ways. And it gives you a pocket in the back, a big pocket, and then you can tuck something behind, and then it gives you a pocket on the side. This one happens to have, this is one that I pulled from my stash because it matched the paper pretty well. This one just happens to have a piece of transparency over the top with some dried flowers. But fold over pocket option. All right, frames. Did I put frames on the wrong one? I know I made a frame. It was really fun. Oh, no, here it is. Here is a simple frame. So I'm going to put this in this way, and I'll tuck a journaling card or something. Did I even make something to put behind it? I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, something's stuck. Let's see if I can get that off. Okay. Oh, that was what that was. Okay. So anyway, this is just a simple frame. I put a piece of window film in there, put some ephemera bits on it, and I can glue this down to make it a pocket, and then tuck a tag in behind it you're able to read. A Gayle fold down. Gayle fold down. Oh, that's this one. Okay, sorry. Like I said, things got out of order. This is what I call a Gayle Augustinelli fold down because she's the first person I saw do it. It's basically just a scrap or an offcut of coffee dyed paper or tea dyed paper, and then you fold the top corners, and then you fold it down here. Now, what I would do with this, you can tuck it in a pocket, you can tuck it anywhere, but I had this scrap strip, and I will put this down like it's a belly band, and I'll hold it in place with this tiny Tim Holtz paper clip. I like it because it's super handy to write a note to somebody if you're gifting the journal, or a small journaling spot that turns into a good size space. So that's a Gayle fold down. Greeting cards. I didn't put greeting cards in here. That's just basically a folded over card with whatever decoration you want on the top. I've got tons of those in here throughout, so I didn't include that specifically. Now this says hidden journaling pet, and it took me a minute to figure out what that meant. That's pocket with the OCK backspace. So I goofed. So hidden journaling pocket. And that is this one, hidden journaling pocket. Okay, so this one, hidden journaling pocket, is you take one of those, again, a rectangular strip of paper, and you fold it and you glue it. And then you cut the top off, and you make it almost like an envelope, and then you cut the top off and you put a piece of paper in there so that when you're done, when it's all said and done, it looks like this. It's got a pull-out hidden journaling spot. Now with mine, because I had ephemera right in front of me, I made a bit of a belly band to hold this in place. So I just took another scrap, fussy cut from the kit, and when I put it in the journal, I'll put it down like this, and I'll tuck the hidden journaling spot right back in there. So that is a hidden journaling pocket. Jibid flower press. Now this is inspired by Jibid O'Neary. And I saw it in a video of hers a long time ago, and I shared how to make them, well, how I make them. She may make them very differently a while ago. And it just takes some card. In this case, I put 3 or 4 layers of heavier cardstock together and seals it like this. There's a piece of paper in between, and there's a video on this if you're interested, and some lace. And I'll put it like baking paper or wax paper or something in here. So if I'm out and about and I want to collect a sample for this journal or a flower that I want to dry, I put the flower in here inside the wax paper or paper, tissue paper, and then it's got a front and back, right? And then I just wrap this around. Oh, I didn't put a dangle on the end or a bead on the end, and tuck it under like this, and I can leave it there just like that. And then it's got my dried flower in it ready for me to use when I want. So that's a Jibid flower press. Journal cards. Now I made a gazillion journal cards because you use them for everything. I made one just for this particular booklet. It's simple scraps on a card, simple journal card. And I do that at the end, and I'll come back to that. But I also do that at the very end with the leftover scraps. I make just a bunch of journal cards because I know you always need them. So journal cards. Library pockets. It says 2 because there's, oh, here's another journal card. I had this napkin covered piece, and I took some birdies from the kit and put the birdies on the top. Oh, and here's another journal card. So apparently I did make more in here. I apologize. Here, simple. Cut off scraps from the edges of the pages and just backed it with some coffee dyed paper. So another journal card. And this would be a tag. I'm not quite sure why it's in here, but that's okay. You can use tags like journal cards, right? They're very similar. And same thing, I can turn this into a bookmark just by putting a piece of ribbon or a lace at the top. I use some scraps here, and then there's writing space on the back. So that could also be considered a journal card or a bookmark. Library pockets. Now, when I think of library pockets, I think of the back rounded coming up high, and so that's kind of how I make them. This particular piece was, I just cut it in half and made a library pocket. And then there's some tags inside there. These are tags from the kit, just plain old, didn't decorate them or do anything fancy. I just cut them out, put a page reinforcer or a hole reinforcer on there, and there is a library pocket. Match booklets. This is just another way to make a writing booklet, and there's lots of videos about them where you tuck it into the bottom like a matchbook, right? And then there's journaling paper in there. Again, page from the kit and words. There were a lot of words in this kit, so I tried to use those as much as possible, and they happen to be faith-based, so that worked out well. Negative strips. Sometimes I have lots of strips of cardstock, and what I'll do is I'll run them through my die cut machine, and then I'll use the positive space of the die cut, but I'll also save the negative space and use that. Here I just put a circle in there to finish it off and put a piece of paper. And then I can use this as a belly band in my page, or I can back it and turn it into a journaling card or a bookmark or what have you. But it's focusing on using the negative strips. Okay, so that is the second. And this is just a notepad. I'm not quite 100% sure why this is in here. This isn't hidden notepad. It's just a plain old simple little notepad. It doesn't really belong in that one, but that's all right. When I put the book together, what I'll do is I'll take all 4 of these bins or envelopes, and I'll lay them out, and I'll look at the page and think, what do I want to put here? And making sure I'm mixing up colors and patterns and styles and such. Like I said, I have way more than I'll need to finish that journal, but this will make finishing that journal really fairly simple. Okay, so page 2 and page 3. I think this is, yeah, the little sticky came off. Okay, page 3, notepads. And I don't think this one is in order because I dropped it and I don't know that I put it back where it belongs. Oh, you know what? I bet that was a notepad, so I bet that one technically goes in here. So the last one that we just saw probably technically goes in here because it is a notepad. I just put it in the wrong one. Page inserts. Now page inserts, a lot of times I'll make before I put the journal together, but sometimes you have a gap or a space and you need something a little bit bulkier to fill in. Here, I'll use this as an example, and that's what I call a page insert. So right here between the spine, let's say I didn't bulk this up enough and I needed something. Well, this is what I call a page insert. I can just glue it in right here and it fills up some of that spine really nicely. So that is what I consider a page insert. Paper clips. I think I've got several paper clips in here. Let's see. Yeah, this is what happens when you drop them. Maybe that's it. Okay, paper clips. Paper clips. All right. These are a side-mounted paper clip with just a little journaling spot, and this is a great way to use up some scraps. I just take a nip out of the back, put the back on, and then there's a paper clip. And this one is a side mounted, and this one is a top mounted. It's kind of like a tuxedo pocket where you take the paper, you fold, and then you cut them at an angle. So I've got the, and then there's the paper clip. There's a back pocket for some journaling or ephemera, and then it's just a tiny little thing, but it's kind of fun. And so that's another version of these are both tuxedo pocket paper clips, if you will. And I can put those anywhere. This paper clip is just a little bit, it's another side one, but it's on the opposite side, and it's almost like a coin envelope, but with a concertina writing. So you can pull out your writing pad and you have lots of space to write, and then it just gets tucked into the pocket. And same thing here, another side one. So those are some paper clips. Playing cards. Now, many times, and I'll grab the playing card one just to show you. I think it's, sorry for just 1 second. I want to get it the right one. Now, a lot of times I forget about altering playing cards, and it's a lot of fun. But these were such pretty Audubon playing cards that all I did was put journaling paper on the back. But when I mean playing cards, you can do anything with the playing cards. Like here's some quick examples. This is an altered playing card. These are all altered playing cards. So lots of fun ways that you can alter. This one was just folded and turned into a tiny little booklet. So lots of ways you can alter playing cards. But in this case, for this particular one, because these Audubon cards were so pretty and the birds go well with the kit and the colors of the fronts go well, I didn't want to mess them up. So all I did was on the back, rather than saying Audubon, I just put coffee dyed paper so that I could journal on those and tuck them in some of those mini pockets as ephemera bits. So playing cards, pocket in a pocket. Now this is one that's a little more time consuming, and I didn't make one for this book because they're bulky and they're time consuming, though they're fun to make, and they use quite a bit of paper. So they use quite a bit of paper. So I didn't make the pocket in a pocket. And this is based off a video that I saw Gayle do that she saw from somebody somewhere else. But that's what a pocket in a pocket is. Policy closure pieces. Okay. So any piece can be changed or altered a little bit by adding a policy closure. And that's just simply these circle discs with a brad or an eyelet in there. And there is a pocket on the inside. You can also put a pocket on the back if you choose to, or you can glue it down in your book and then have another place to tuck something. Sometimes that for me will depend on how thick my book gets, whether I turn it into a pocket or I turn it into a journaling card, or or a double pocket. So that is a policy closure piece. Scrap cards. Now I didn't make scrap cards because I've got those at the end. Slide mounts. Oh, I see, here's another one of those cards. Slide mount. Here's a slide mount option. This isn't a standard slide mount. This is just a turned into kind of a slide mount. It was just a piece that I had. You can do it just with this, or you can make it into what I've done here, and that's kind of a pocket with a pocket on the top. But again, it's the slide mount principle. And slide mounts make great dangles too, because you do the front and the back, and then you can put a little charm or something on the top or on the bottom, and they make great dangles. So there's slide mount. Square fold journaling. I usually have a bunch of these simply because they're really handy for writing and they're handy to tuck in pockets. There's, again, lots of videos out there. You just take a square of paper, you fold it in half, you fold the right side and the left side, or the left side and the right side, it doesn't really matter which. And then you tuck those corners in and you lay it down. And then it fits nicely into pockets and such. And so I put a couple of the square fold journalings in there. Stacked pocket. Let's see. What have I got left? Okay, you can tell it's kind of a mess. Stacked pocket. Well, heck, did I not make a stacked pocket? I could have sworn that I did. Oh, here we do. I did. These are stacked pockets. You just take scraps of the paper and you lay them one on. Oh, there's another paper clip. There's another paper. I had lots of the paper clips. Oh, I know. Probably because I was doing something like this with the stacked pockets. Maybe that's what I was doing. So stacked pockets, it tucks in or tucks on. Right? And you just take as many as you want and build it up as high as you want. I sew mine, but you certainly don't have to. Strip fold pockets. Now this I've got a couple different ways also, but it's just another way to use up some scrap and to, let's see if I've got anything that'll fit. You can, this is a little too big, but you can tuck pieces in. Actually, you could do it just like this. This is a scrap pad, but I could do it just like that, and then another bit out here. Ah, dangle. I knew I had a dangle somewhere. It's in the wrong place. Here's a simple dangle. Just some labels on top of card, two side. I'll dangle that from the edge of a page. But the strip fold pocket is you have a long strip and then you take the pockets and you can put them up on, as like I said, corners. You can mount them different ways, bottom line. And it just uses the paper that you've got and gives you another option. Also, I could glue this in and make this a belly band if I chose to. Strip fold pocket, that was that. And tags. Oh, tags. Tags are, we use them all the time. Here is a simple pocket tag, right? I just took a piece of transparency, put flowers between it, and now I've got a pocket right here. So there's a tag. These tags were bits from the kit that I just mounted. Here is one with a plain back. I just took the flower image from the kit, one of the ephemera pieces, and I used a piece of dried flower that I had and laid it right on top of that ephemera, and then I sewed a piece of window film or transparency right over the top, and just to give it a little bit of interest. That one is nothing on the back. This one, same idea, the card from the kit, dried flower on top with a label, sewed the transparency on the top, and then I flipped it over and used some of the offcuts to make a stacked pocket for some of the ephemera bits from the kit and one of the words from the kit. And the exact same idea here. Image from the kit, dried flowers on top, a piece of window film or transparency, and instead of doing stack pocket, I just did a side tuck pocket with the bits, and then I put some ephemera pieces left over from the kit in there. Okay, and tags. And then here are some different tags using ephemera and pieces from the kit. This is one that I pulled from my stash, and I just used one of the embellishments from the kit to put it on top to kind of like tie it together. And here's a tag with 2 of the ephemera bits, some of the leftover paper and the ephemera, an image ephemera, and made it a tuck spot on the side. And these are scrap pads. I don't know why they're, scrap pads. I missed them. Maybe I missed scrap pads. Scrap pads are just little bits of leftover pieces put on a pad that you can use to decorate plain pages or just to make your page pretty, or you can use them in your own journaling, or you can write on them. And here are a couple different scrap pads. See, you can see these are some of the faux washi that they made labels into, and I just put a little strip of those on top of some of the other pieces. So those are scrap pads. I don't know how I missed those. Sorry about that. And this, I'm not even 100% sure what it was. Oh, I know. My idea was to just put these on a page just like this. So these are ephemera bits, and these are pockets, and they go in here because they're pockets. And I'll glue down the edge on each of these, kind of like this in my book, if you will. And then tuck the little itty bitty notepads. All I did with the notepads is I used a couple pieces of paper, and then I used the faux washi images that they had in the kit to sew them up on top. So in my journal, it would look something like this. So that's why I paper clip those together. So those are just regular old simple pockets with some notepads inside. All right, that's page 3. One more. And let me move these to the side. And I spent a couple days doing it when I had time, you know, here and there, and it was kind of fun to go through my ephemera that was pre-made and see if I could make any of it work in this particular journal. I don't often work in these colors, so I didn't have as much as I might have if I were, say, using a more neutral journal, but it was still fun to be able to take some old pieces and incorporate them into these. All right, page 4. I've got a lot in here because I was getting to the end of my project and I had a lot of paper left. So tag pockets. No, that's not a tag pocket. This is another one. I dropped both of them. Okay, so this is kind of going to be a guess as you go. On here, my list is tag pockets, Tracie drop pocket, Tracie two-side, transparency pieces, trifold pockets, tucks and corner tucks, tuxedo pockets, two-piece pockets, woven ladder pockets, wrap around, and we wrap around the side, and then miscellaneous makes. Anything that doesn't fall into one of those categories and I just randomly have paper and think, oh, I can make this. So I'm not going to do this in order simply because it's not in order at all. So I'll tell you what it is when I get to it. This is what I call a woven ladder pocket, and it's based on something I saw Gayle Augustinelli make with using 4 strips, something she saw from a friend at a retreat. So when the pieces are out, she had 4 pieces like this, and they were all the same size. And then you've got 4 pockets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I've done several of those just because they're so much fun, but I've also altered it so that I can change it up based on the paper that I've got. And so this is just a woven strip. Here it made it into a belly band, and I put a simple paper clip on top, right? And then again here, just a simple tag, and I've got a paper clip to go on top there. And then I can glue this in my book, and you can do it a top one, but I also did a concertina type piece, right? Lots of writing here, more writing than if it was just a solid page. And then I will glue this down and I'll tuck this right in the side of the page, and there's more writing there. So that is what I call a woven ladder pocket. And the nice thing about this is you can do it with as many strips of paper as you want, make it as wide or as narrow as you choose. Okay, these were extra bits. Oh, these are the miscellaneous makes. This is what I was talking about. I had some square and rectangular bits of the card left from the kit and some ephemera. And so I just made these. I can turn them into a pocket. If I need more journaling cards, I'll just put this, let's pretend this piece is big enough. Or I'll just pretend this piece matches. I can put it on the front of this, and then cut and make another journaling card. Or it can be a tuck, or it can be anything I really need it to be. It's just using up some of those bits in a very simple way. And then when I find what I need based on finishing the journal, I can turn it into whatever I need. So those are some miscellaneous makes. This was the same thing. This is a scrap pad, but I had this fussy cut image left and I had some little bits left, and so I combined the two to make a larger scrap pad. This is, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is kind of another miscellaneous mix. So I had a long strip, wrapped it around, glued it together, and in the front, I've got this tuck spot, and in the back, I've got a side tuck. So just an extra piece made with some leftovers. This is a belly band, so it doesn't really belong in here. But again, I had these pieces left and I wanted to utilize them because there was these circle discs in the kit, and I find that I rarely use circle discs, even though I like them. So I just embellished them up and used them to make a belly band. This one is an over the top of the page bit. So it goes over like this. I've got magnets in it, and then it's got a top tuck. So I put it over the top. There's a tuck here and a tuck here for journaling cards. This is another mismake. I had these really pretty images, and I just cut it and offset it and wrapped it around a card to make a belly band or a concertina style insert. This is a Laura Baim fold down. Laura Baim is a junk journaler who's passed away a few years back now. And she did, the first time I saw this, it's just a strip of paper and you put it in your book, right, on your page, wherever, and then you fold it up and then you tuck it under something. You can paper clip it or you can just tuck it under something. Here, I use this bit of ephemera. I'll glue this top piece down to my page, and when I fold this up, I'll glue it under here, and I use the word loving in loving memory of Laura. So that is a miscellaneous make. Two-piece pockets. No, these are not two-piece pockets. These are trifold pockets because I fold 3 times. So this is just a long strip folded up, folded down, and then made into pockets. You can orient it this way, or in this case, because it worked better, I oriented it this way. And then I just put a little bit of ephemera on the top. So that's a trifold pocket. This is, I'm not sure. Oh, this is a 2-piece pocket. I love making 2-piece pockets. Okay, so 2-piece pockets. You use 2 pieces of paper and you combine them together. You fold, and then you put them together to make a pocket. And that's what this is. Oh no, this one's not. No, this is not a traditional. This is a leftover bit again. I apologize. All right. This is a wraparound. Okay, now I'm cooking with gas. All right. This is a wraparound. I put magnets in this. So let me grab a piece of paper. And then this, you just wrap around your page. They've got a pocket on the front and pocket on the back. You just wrap it around your page. Your magnet holds it in place. Unless, of course, you throw it off. My page in my book are thinner than this. This is a heavy piece of card. I mean, really heavy piece of card. Then let's use the actual book, Corey. Okay, so when I'm ready to decorate these pages, I've got this thin, oh, come on, Corey, straw paper here. I'll wrap this around the page. The magnets will hold. And then I've got 2 pockets here. I've got a vocabulary card in that one, and then a concertina style there. And put it up on top. And I've got 2 pockets to hold things. And then I flip it around, and I made a belly band on this piece with another larger piece of journaling paper. And I put that in there. So that's a wraparound. That's how that works. And that was what I labeled as a wraparound. Okay. This is a 2-piece pocket. These 2 are 2-piece pockets. All right. And I used them as tucks here. But what it is you've got 2 rectangles of paper, basically, and you score both of them. And you lay them over each other to make a pocket on the front. And this one made it a tuck to close the pocket. And a pocket on the back. and I just decorated that. So that's what a 2-piece pocket is. You use 2 pieces of paper, you fold them, and then you glue them together. This one's a little more obvious. See? So this is the bottom piece, and I scored it and folded it around, and this is the top piece. I scored it and folded it down. I rounded the corners. Used a bit of ephemera to hold it closed, and used a bit of ephemera on the back to make a pocket to put a journaling piece in. So 2-piece pockets. Tuxedo pocket. This is a version of a stacked pocket. I had some scraps of paper, and I just cut them at angles. And what did I do with that little guy? Oh well, just cut them at angles. Here we go. This is smaller, and I've got pocket, 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 and I'll just glue that in. Okay, this one is a tucks and corner tucks. All right, this one happens to be a double pocket tuck, but it's a tuck. It's a rounded corner. I'll glue it down on my page, tuck a large piece of ephemera in there or something to write on. And then these are glued down pockets. Now I glued these pieces in because I didn't want to pull them out. I just thought it looked really pretty on the front as a decoration, but you could also tuck, a vocabulary card or a cigarette card or something in there as well. So that is a corner tuck. This is a tuxedo pocket, and that's where you fold and fold and fold back. We all make them. They're all over the place, directions and such, but I call them tuxedo pockets because they look like a tuxedo, where you have a strip of paper and you fold it over, and then you fold down the angle, and then you fold another piece and you fold down that angle. That's what this is. And then I just put some journaling strips inside them because this was a thinner one, because that's the size paper I had. Again, these are almost all made from using scraps. And, oh, that's one of those discs. See, there you go. There's one of the cool discs in that kit. These are also corner tucks. Now, this is the one I made before when we started the collaboration in, gosh, I think maybe that was June. Maybe it was June. I think it was June. And I wanted a sister piece for it because it had originally started with a different idea. So I made this one back then, and then I made this one using some leftover bits and ephemera from there. And I just traced around a heart, poked some holes, and sewed this string there just to do something a little bit different with the floss, DMC floss. Trifold pockets. I make a ton of trifold pockets. I love them because you take a strip and you fold and you fold, and then you can decide if you want a side or a tuck, and then you can add another little bit. I usually use vellum to make a pocket on the front of one side. I make these all the time. Here's one of those square fold pieces tucked in there. Here is a tag tucked in this pocket. And then in the big back pocket, I've got just a little notepad, basically. I mean, just lined note paper, kind of made festive at the top to tie it together. And those are what I call my trifold pockets. I make these often. They're a great way to use up strips of paper. Plus, they're functional and they have a lot of pockets. Here's another version of a trifold pocket. Instead of making it solid, I just cut it off at an angle. And I've got a tag in here, and then a notepad in the back. Just a slight alteration of that trifold pocket. Okay, Tracie two-side. That's this one. This one's got a magnet in it. And what it is, it's based on a video that Tracie did flipping a piece over the top of her page. And so here, I'll pull the journal out for that again. And got a page in your journal, and you just put it over the top. I put magnets in the bottom to hold it in place, but there we go. There's a disc again. I've got a journaling space here. Put a tag in it, and then on the other side, what did I do? I did a scrap pad. Okay, just a little bit of scraps on there, and that is a Tracie two-side. I could have done Tracie over the top, but I don't know if that would have worked as well. This is what I call a Tracie drop down. So this is a pocket or a tag, whichever you prefer. And then on the bottom, there's a drop down pocket. So it's a little bit smaller, and it's what I call the Tracie drop pocket. There's a pocket that drops off the edge of your tag or your ephemera or whatever. Again, I could put this down to make it a pocket, and there's a drop pocket below, or I could do it as a tuck, or I could just have it simply glued down, and then this is the writing space, because that's one of those concertina pieces. This is just a tag, a pocket tag. Maybe this was leftover bits. I think this was just a mismake because I had leftover bits. I had an extra tag and I had an extra ephemera bit, so I made it into a belly band, so there's journaling space there. Oh, here's another one. Okay, this one is one of those trifold pockets with a tag here, but this was a tag option. I turned this tag into a pocket, so maybe this is a tag pocket. Took a long tag, folded it, and used my trifold technique to make a tag pocket. And this was a tag pocket, tag with a pocket. This was one from that it was in my makes that are already done, and I just added some books from the kit to tie them together. This is a tag options. There's a pocket here. No, it's not. It's not a pocket. It's just decoration. Oh, I know. It's a flip up. This is a scratch vellum, and it had a transparency piece. Transparency pieces. Here you go. I used 2 pieces of transparency to sandwich some dried flour and put it on here with little strips, and it's a tag. I can glue this into my book, and then I've got a space in the back to tuck things. So that's a tag pocket. Transparency piece, excuse me. Here's another transparency piece that is just into a journaling card. I used scraps and sandwiched it with some transparency for the dried flowers, put one of the quotes from the kit on the top, and then it's just a journaling tag or journaling card. And here are some transparency pieces. I can take this one, I used one of the washies, I can just put it on the side of my page and make it a side tuck. And then here's a fun one that has, again, with a faux washi that they made into the kit. It's got some butterflies in it and the colors were great. So I've got a little notepad book on this side, and on the back I have a concertina kind of writing space, so I can tuck that into a pocket as well. Okay, so enough. That's page 4. And all these different makes were made using a kit and or scraps that were lying around. And now I have all the pieces I need, and then some, to finish this journal. And I know many times people have told me they've got this really pretty blank journal and they just kind of get overwhelmed and they don't know where to start and what to make. Well, here you go. Here's an entire list of, I don't know, 50-ish ideas maybe or more of things that you can make. One of the things I also do when I'm done making for a kit, any leftover bits, and I'm showing you this intentionally, any leftover bits I come back and I glue them down, whether to make it a card or a dangle or a tag for ephemera. I'm not even 100% sure what this would be. I could put a little flower there and make it into a tuck. I kind of just glue them all down however I think might look good, and then I trim it based on what I need when I'm putting it together. So that could easily make a tag, a bookmark, or just a journaling card. This could just be a decorative bit on something that needed something a little bit more. Journaling cards. Because I only used half of one of these round doilies for the cover of this, I saved the rest of it to turn it into journaling cards. Now I don't know if I want this to be rounded or if I need it to be a little bit smaller, but I sewed that piece on so that when I'm ready to put it in, I can cut it to fit, or I can extend it. I can take another scrap of this and put it over here to make it a bit bigger. So I left myself some options with the leftover ephemera. This is just a little booklet, and I've got several in there. But I use these all the time too, and when I say books here in the beginning, I told you I'd come back to those. A lot of these things can be made into little booklets, just based on the way that I've decorated them. Here is a great example. This little bit can be made into a booklet. This is oriented incorrectly for it, but I could, I didn't even do that on purpose. I could put this right in here, trim that down, and make it a booklet. Like I said, this one's oriented wrong for that, but several could be. So that's a little booklet. And again, I do that so that I have options when I'm stuffing my pockets. I have things that I can just alter slightly to quickly make and put into, and I use my offcuts for that, and extra bits of ephemera here. This could be a journaling card, this could be a tag, this could be a bookmark. It's just a cluster. It could be a pocket, it could be a side tuck, right? I could glue it down here, make it a side tuck on the page. Just literally glued some strips that were left on my desk, fussy cut an image, and turned it into multiple piece options. This, perfect for a booklet, right? I just score it, fold it over. It's a little bit narrower than it needs to be, so I would sew on or glue on another piece in the back, put the pages in the middle, and I've got a booklet right there. All of these leftover bits, I do the same type of a thing with. This was a collage card. I had leftover bits again, and I put them on the top of a card, and then that was the last bit of that doily. And then I also make some blank journaling cards. Used a scrap to edge a journaling card. Here is more of that lace with on top of a journaling card. So, for example, if I wanted to, could back page of the book, I've got pockets with some lace bits. I could just tuck this in right here, and then I've got another place to journaling card, or in any of the pockets. Simple journaling card. It's just ready to go and tuck into an empty pocket. Same thing here. This was just a piece of the paper. Same thing here, just an alteration on the journaling card. I just put a little handle on the side with a leftover scrap of paper. I made this one into a simple concertina book because I had 2 of those little images. Perfect for tucking in a pocket. And then here, simple journal card. Okay, so that, I really hope it helps somebody. I hope it gives you some ideas. You are welcome to utilize this list. This is not an exhaustive list. There's many, many more pieces and things that you can make to put into your journals. These are just some of my standard go-tos, and it allows me to face a journal when maybe I'm not feeling so creative, or I'm not sure what I want to include, or oh gosh, I'm on this page, what do I do here? When I've got all of them ready to go, and I can immediately fill and tuck them in. I sewed these on when I was putting the journal together because I knew I wanted a couple pocket pages, and so that's kind of like, oh, okay, I've got some that are pre-done. These you can see I haven't decided. It's just a card, but because I've got all those pieces ready, I can trim this down or fold it over and make another pocket, or sew a piece of lace on the edge and make another belly band. But having that, I hope for those of you who are struggling with creativity that it gave you some ideas, or encouraged you or inspired you to make something. And for those of you who are just sometimes unsure what to put in your journal or where to start, here is a pretty lengthy list of things that you can make, and none of these were particularly difficult. The pocket in a pocket requires directions, but most of them, they're just kind of fold, cut, and go, and then glue type pieces. So I hope that helped. My next video, my challenge, the reason I got that done is my challenge to myself was to get that completely done and out of the way before I'm taking part in Mandy and Julie's collaboration of junk journal ideas and inspiration, ending of the summer roundup, and I'm using a poppy kit. So I wanted those done and put aside, and then I can dive into the poppies. So thank you for watching. Please do check out the rest of the Rachel and Angela collaboration videos. If you haven't already, there's a bunch there, and that might give you some ideas for putting together. And this journal is, and the pages in the kit is all from Rachel and Angela, and the images they made. I shouldn't say all, except for the few scrap pieces I tucked in. They're all from that. I hope you're enjoying a wonderful summer. Our house is still torn apart, lots of issues with that, but we're getting there. So thank you for watching. Take care and happy creating.